This episode of The Breakfast Dish is brought to you by the Calgary Foundation, proudly supporting community needs for 65 years.
When I'm 65.
Everyone wants to feel a sense of belonging. Now, more than ever, we are united by a desire to take action and help others by creating a community built on kindness and compassion. This is a very good ad for our podcast.
Calgary Foundation is all about kindness. Why? Because did they sponsor this podcast in the beginning?
The first baby steps of The Breakfast Dish?
Yeah, with a little grant. What else about grants from Calgary Foundation?
Well, I'll tell you, from small creative projects to larger citizen-led initiatives, the Calgary Foundation provides grassroots grants to encourage and support people like me and Karen who want to create and strengthen bonds between neighbors and communities. Oh my God, this is us.
If Griffin and I had a stronger bond, he would call me Mom instead of Karen.
Okay, well, you could talk to them about this. So if you've got an idea to improve, enhance, or revitalize your community or neighborhood, visit calgaryfoundation.org to find out more about the Foundation's grant opportunities, and you can visit the Calgary Foundation's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube channel, and sometimes they share our podcast a little bit.
And you can also improve your community by calling your mommy Mom.
Tell me your dreams over bacon and eggs. We'll share a laugh and a story and even a wish on the breakfast dish.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 35 of The Breakfast Dish. My son is shaking his head at me.
Back to once.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 36 of The Breakfast Dish.
Sorry, Karen. That one was great. I just wanted another take with a little bit more feeling.
Okay.
And there was a light thing. There was a lighting thing. So if we could just go back on that, that would be good. Okay, go ahead. And
we're not going to lose
action.
the light, are we? No, okay.
Sorry? Yeah, no. We're in golden hour, so we are. Yeah, we're on a time limit. So here we go.
Good morning, everyone. Give me the action first. Sorry, I haven't been on set in ages. Come on,
That's
give me the
okay.
action. I'm going to give it all the feeling.
The other thing is, depending on how you edit this, that joke doesn't play, because you could just make me not interrupt you because we're recording on separate tracks. So I hope you keep that in there. We're back. I'm still recording.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 36 of The Breakfast Dish. I feel great. I feel grateful. I feel excited. I feel all of the emotions that my director and producer, Griffin Cork, my son, has asked me to feel in this take 4 of the intro to this podcast. Hi, Griffin.
And that's a cut. Great. We got the day. I will see you at Crafty and all the screenings, you know?
I'm actor. I line up first.
Really?
Yeah.
This is a non-union production.
What? Oh, my gosh. This is so unprofessional.
Of me or you?
Both of us. This is not how I expected my career to go.
Whoa. Okay, we're diving into a black hole here. I'm hanging on by a thread, and the thing I'm dangling over is bottomless.
Right now, I'm upset about the pretendy film world that we're in, and that I'm not succeeding well in film.
The fake non-union production that I tricked you into being on. And also,
what is it called? Is it called The Breakfast Dish, or are we on a different movie?
No, this is The Expendable 6.
Oh, awesome. Great. That's the one where the guy can stretch, right? That's the cartoons?
What?
Oh, no, that's Incredibles. Anyway, Griffin.
And also, no, I think you're thinking of Mr. Incredible. Oh, no, sorry. The wife does have stretchy power in Incredibles.
Right?
But who am I thinking of?
She's got big childbearing hips. And she stretches.
And Mr. Fantastic from Fantastic Four, who also stretches, I think.
I think so.
Some powers, everything's a derivative of something.
It's not the power I would, when people say, what superpower would you like to have? I would never say stretching.
Okay, what would you say? I guess we're here now.
Invisibility, for sure invisibility. Or flying, but not stretching.
Okay, yeah, but you're flying. But if you fly into a building, do you also have super healing?
What are you saying? I can't steer?
Yeah.
I can't steer myself?
It depends if you just learned how to fly or you grew up with that. Karen, this is maybe the most off-topic banter we've ever had in my 24 years of banter with you. So
okay, 24-year-old, my son.
Okay.
Tell everybody what we do on this podcast then.
We talk about people who are making online or digital or socially distant art for the listeners right now that you can listen to. You can go somewhere and you can consume it. And we talked to the creators behind it to learn about kind of how they got started with it, what they're doing, how the transition has been during COVID, but also just to talk about them. And I guess at some point we're going to have to ask them what their opinion is on stretchy superpowers.
That's the first question. That's the first question I'm going to ask as we now introduce the co-hosts of the podcast on the Alberta Podcast Network. That's a thing.
Okay, and we're going to go, back to ones. We're just going to take that podcast name one more time.
Didn't I say it right?
Well, yeah, no, sorry. Kevin Costner just coughed in the back. So if you could just take that one more time.
Kevin, watch it.
Hey, sorry, Karen, please don't attack Kevin Costner. Okay, and action.
This episode, we are joined by the co-hosts of the Alberta Podcast Network's great podcast, That's a Thing. And your co-hosts are Karen and Elizabeth, and funnily enough, a mother-daughter team, much as we are a mother-son team. And this mom's name is Karen, and that mom's name is Karen. And hi, Karen and Elizabeth, how are you?
Hello. I'm just trying really hard not to react every time somebody says, Karen, that's meant for you and not for me.
Yeah, because we're in an audio medium, we have to describe this, but if you were watching the Zoom call, you'd notice every time the name Karen was mentioned, Mom would do this like little flinch thing. But we made it. We're here. And we have not interrupted any of your takes. So we're doing good.
We usually do a preface that says we are absolutely fine if you interrupt the bit to join in. We always usually say that. So anyway, we're happy to have you. Everybody, it's been crazy at the Alberta Podcast Network says they can't team up. They'd be too powerful. 2 moms and 2 kids. It's like The Incredibles, some have said, which didn't really make sense at the time. But
that was a good segue to The Incredibles, to Stretchy, to superpowers, to our first question. Karen, the mom of the co-host team of That's a Thing. Karen, what superpower would you ask for if you were given a choice?
Is it a superpower to have infinite patience? Because I am like a massively impatient person, and it makes my life harder. And so if I could have the opposite of that, that would be good.
She's saying that because we just took 4 minutes to get to introducing them.
No.
That's why.
I was going to say, that's also the most mom answer I've ever heard in my entire life.
Elizabeth, what would your superpower of choice be?
Well, it's funny that you guys were talking about stretchy powers, because I actually have a weird medical condition that allows me to turn my feet entirely backwards. So I have that one covered.
Awkward.
This is not a good person answer, but my answer is mind control. I'm like such a control freak.
I'm so sorry that I made fun of the choice of stretchy when it's something you are already blessed with.
Yeah, 2 huge pieces of information, big truth bombs right there. That was crazy. Mind control, though. Tell me the first thing you do. You have to tell me. It's the rule.
Oh gosh. There would be a lot of billionaires that would suddenly not be billionaires for reasons they couldn't really explain, probably. Yeah.
Because you mind controlled somebody in the bank to go delete.
Yeah. Well, transfer, not delete, transfer.
Transfer's better.
Yeah.
I'm going back to the name Karen and Karen here.
Fight.
Karen, host of That's a Thing. You can go ahead and be Karen. If it helps in this episode, I can go by KJD, which is probably how Elizabeth knows me from attending Arts Trek, which she is a student at and I administrate. And everyone calls me there KJD because there's usually 1 million people there named Karen. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 36 of The Breakfast Dish. I'm your co-host, KJD.
Good
and
stuff.
Here's my son, Griffin.
And it's me, Big Marshmallow Wrap.
What?
What? I just thought we could, if we were going to do a second name, I could try something really cool.
Oh, nickname. Okay, go. Do it.
I did. Yeah. No, sorry. Let me clarify.
Okay.
I found the cool name. It was Big Marshmallow Wrap.
Okay, great. Elizabeth, would you like a second cool nickname?
No, I'm firmly anti-nickname. I'm good with just first name, cool, definitional, like a Cher Madonna moment.
If you guys are feeling weird because, like, I took the best name, you don't have to be. That's not, we won't get mad at you for that.
Karen, Any nicknames?
No, my name is Karen because my mom didn't want me to have any nickname. She wanted me to be called what she called me. And so that was like part of the reason she was attracted to that name. And plus she was having a baby in 1970. And so like chances were I was going to be called Karen. Yeah.
Right?
Now my mom, Karen.
Yes, my son.
Oh no, this is a minefield we're going to have to navigate. Do you think that there are any nicknames that you get called instead of Karen?
KJD, Cage.
Yeah, but that's self-imposed. I'm talking about like your best buddies.
Cage. People shorten KJD to Cage, and sometimes they call me Karen Four Names.
Karen Four Names.
Karen Johnson,
Four Names?
Diamond, Cork.
It's very close to Karen Four Eyes. I think you're getting bullied. Wait, and this is not something I knew. You're called Cage?
Yes, some people have shortened KJD down to Cage.
I'm going to take... it's mine now. There's a fighting game character named Johnny Cage. We're going to put aside Big Marshmallow rap. I'm Cage now. You have to call me Cage.
Okay, you can be Cage.
Nice.
Changing your nickname. Is that a thing?
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
So yes, why don't you tell us a little bit about what your podcast is about?
Our podcast is Elizabeth explaining her media to me across our generation gap. So she is currently 19. She was almost 16 when we started. I am much older than that. And so we have like a Gen-Z or Gen Z or whatever they call you, and a Gen-Xer. We skip all over it, just completely over the millennials, which makes them mad sometimes because we don't really know their culture at all. And she just explains to me what is happening on YouTube or TikTok or wherever.
Yeah, it came from when I was in like 9th grade and I started becoming very online. Like I'd reached that awkward stage of teenagerhood where I'm like, being in meat space sucks and I'm just going to be on the computer. And so I started absorbing.
Wait. Did you just call it meat space?
Yeah, that's what I call outside society.
Awesome. Carry on.
So I just started talking to Mom about things that she had no way of knowing about because they were things that 15-year-olds know about. And I thought, like, we were having all of these conversations in the car and at the dinner table, and she'd always go, "That's a thing," branding. And we might as well make some content out of it and also share this stuff with other parents so that they're aware of what their kids are constantly surrounded by all the time.
And Karen, do you actually feel like you are out of the loop on some things?
Yeah, totally. She tells me things all the time that I have never heard of in a million years, even though like I'm a pretty online person. I run media, invent and run media organizations that are all online, but I'm not tuned into the part that she's tuned into. So yeah, often our conversations were that they start with her saying, "Have you heard about blah, blah, blah?" And I'll say, "No, tell me more about that." And then she'll explain it. And I'll say, "Oh, that's like kind of like a thing that used to happen in 1977. Let me tell you about that." And then we workshop a script out of that.
I workshop a script out of that. I do all that.
This summer, one piece of beef flies into the Mars shuttle, Kevin Costner and Karen Johnson Diamond in Meat Space.
Obviously, you can tell we don't workshop any script.
Yeah, I mean, I don't run any of this by Karen. I'm kind of a chaotic element.
That's your new nickname. Okay, I'm going to put you to the test then, Elizabeth, because I am older than your mother, who's trying not to say her age, but she already said that she was born in 1970, right? So,
what she did say is she's older than 19. That's what we're working on.
But as a 54-year-old, and it's funny because my good friend Stephanie and I have another podcast called Bridging the Gap Between Generations Who Assume Things About Each Other. And this is the kind of stuff that we try to get to the point where we're saying there's not so many differences between us, but there are some. And I'm not sure if it's because I don't understand what TikTok is or I just don't care what TikTok is. And also that I have an addictive personality. So if I got on another social media, something or other, I'd be lost for the rest of my life.
Yeah, we just got her off of Farmville.
Oh, no.
It was a really arduous process. Or no, it wasn't. Wait, it wasn't. It was
Heyday.
Heyday.
Yeah, don't make me. Don't. I can stop whenever I want. Don't.
I used to be a lawyer.
I would love to hear Elizabeth tell me what TikTok is the way you would tell your mom what TikTok is.
Okay. So TikTok is an app, starting there. It's social media the same way Instagram or Twitter or Facebook is social media. But it also combines elements of YouTube. So there's a massive video element to TikTok. What I really like about TikTok in terms of a meme platform, assuming you understand what a meme is, just gonna check.
Kinda.
Yeah. So in terms of a platform for memes and art creation and any sort of like putting together of sharing the human experience with other humans, you're able to incorporate video, audio, text, all of this stuff into one easily produced package in a minute or less that you can share all over the place.
Is there a time limit of a minute on TikTok things?
Yeah. It depends on, I believe, whether you're paying for it or not,
Okay.
but around a minute.
All right, now
Hold on.
What?
Before I let you go with what just happened there, Karen, you were pretty brazen in proclaiming that you knew what a meme was. And I would love to hear your example
I
of
do
a
know what a
meme.
meme
I
is.
think I know what you're going to say, but I want to hear you say it.
a meme is like it's a square of two pictures, split screen, and it's Captain Jean-Luc Picard in both, and somebody's saying to Jean-Luc Picard, "You shouldn't have to wear a mask." And then in the second one, Jean-Luc Picard is like face palming himself, like whacking himself on the head as if that person was stupid. And so there's two pictures, and then they make up the captions for the pictures.
Welcome to the Breakfast Just Described video. Karen just put up her two hands, kind of like a Jean-Luc Picard sock puppet, and moved them at each other like maybe they were going to kiss. Which, didn't really... We knew that there was two different people, but it did help.
You don't have to wear a mask, Captain Picard.
No.
Yeah? No.
See, and what I thought you were going to say is the old, like, I'm thinking like early 2000s cat photos of like block white text like Icon has cheeseburger. Like that.
Okay, wait. Let me take you back to 1970.
Okay.
Long before any sorts of TikToks or interwebs was even invented, we used to have cat posters that hung on our walls, and there'd be like a brick wall, and there'd be a cat like just holding on by its claws, and it would say, "Hang in there." So we invented memes in the 70s. So back off, kid.
Which, are you yelling at me or our guests?
I'm yelling at you.
It's good to
Karen,
clarify.
when Elizabeth says to you, TikTok is blah, 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 which she just said, and actually described very well. Thank you, Elizabeth. Karen, what do you say back when you say, "Oh, that's like in the 70s, we..."
What I usually say back is versions similar to, "Oh my goodness, your culture is so collaborative. Back in the 70s, all we did was consume passively and like receive, right?" And so, yes, that the kitty hanging in there is like a meme, right? Like it's sort of like it conveys information like something like Icon has cheeseburger cat does, but you only consume it. You buy it and you look at it and you don't remix it and you don't do anything to it. Her generation is constantly remixing and commenting on and recycling its culture into such an interesting way. So I think like the overwhelming theme of our podcast is how creative and collaborative young people are compared to when I was her age.
I love that.
Yeah. So what I'd say is you've kind of described the first image that starts a meme with that cat poster. But what the memeing of it would then be is somebody would graffiti the word "no" underneath "Can I has cheeseburger?" And then somebody else would put googly eyes on the cat. And then somebody else would be like, "I'm a dog person. I want a dog version of this," and would put a dog poster next to it. And then somebody would rip one of the posters in half and like splice it with a totally different poster that's been circulating. And by the time you got to it a year later, you'd have no idea what was going on unless you'd seen every single version of that.
That's a really... What are you going to take in university there, Elizabeth? Because it sounds to me like you need to be some sort of multimedia marketing maven.
I'm doing like an avant-garde English program. But yeah.
I would do this with the meme, and Karen will appreciate this thing.
I'll do this with the meme.
Would it be a meme creation if I were to take the poster of the cat hanging on the wall and the thing says hang in there, and I superimpose a picture of a quote unquote Karen yelling, there's a cat stuck on the wall, I want to speak to the manager.
That's good.
Thank you.
I think that's good. But I would think that was good. Do you think that's good?
I think that's good too, actually. Yeah.
I liked, it was perfect comedic gold that the other Karen grabbed the mic and went, that's good. That's good.
Karen, let's just talk for a minute about this whole Karen meme, this Karen personality.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Hi. Welcome to the Breakfast Dish True Crime Investigative Journalist segment.
I think this is going to be more therapy. How does it affect you, Karen?
Wow.
I've gone through all the stages of grief on this one. And so I think where I am now, having been angry about, and we did a podcast that had not all Karens as a hashtag connected to it. And it's kind of me saying like, darn it, we're not all like that. And then over time, I really have come to feel like it's a good corrective, right? I never want to be acting like the stereotypical Karen, like small K Karen is. And so every time I see somebody criticizing, like using that name, my name, our name as an insult, I think like, what can I do? Like, this is just a reminder to me to never earn that epithet.
Oh, say that last word again.
Epithet.
I never used that word in actual conversation. That was so good.
Karen, I guess oh no. Mom,
Yes?
I don't know your thoughts about the whole situation. Where have you landed right now?
I have not been as positive as other Karen has been in the sense that she uses it as a litmus test on her own behavior. You know what? I've tried not to get too vocal about it because I'm the kind of person that talks about the 12-year-old person working at Home Depot that doesn't have an answer for everything as Todd. But I have to remember that there are people named Todd that are... Anyway, it's made me stop using Todd. I still say Joe Public, but I don't think that's a insult. However, did I tell the story already about you buying the vacuum cleaner at Walmart when you were moved into your own place and you bought a vacuum and it didn't work? And we went back to Walmart to return it.
You haven't, but yes.
He went up to customer service and said, I need to return this. It's not working. And they said, oh, you can't return it because of something. I don't know this. And he came back and said, I can't return it. I have to buy another one. And I was like, no, let me go talk to him. And he says, Mother, don't. Please don't. Don't go talk to the manager. I don't want you to be a Karen who talks to the manager. So I sent him back with all the things I would have said, and he got to exchange his vacuum for another one.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is it worked. And I don't think I had like, I didn't put on like a certain tone or anything, but she raised like some solid just argumentative points. And I was like, yeah, thanks, Mom. I'll go get them.
Okay, Elizabeth, in your old age, Elizabeth, as you age into adulthood, are there more and more times that you go, oh my gosh, Mom was right about that? Or I look to Mom for wisdom.
Well, I feel like so this is a weird thing about me that kind of makes it feel odd that I have the, I guess, job that I do in terms of explaining the youth culture is that I grew up very quickly. And so I had my like, oh, Mom, you don't understand me face when I was literally 11 years old. And I grew out of it by the time I was 13. And so I've always kind of been on even footing with Mom, at least for like the memory that I still have retained and works and isn't too embarrassing for me to face. So I feel like it's not me finding more and more moments where I'm like, oh, Mom was right about that. It's me having this general attitude of Mom's probably right because she's had more life experience. But also if I feel like she's wrong, she's wrong.
Did you see those daggers? There was like literal daggers coming from her eyes.
But those are grown-up assured daggers, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if there was any one large, and you can jump in, Mom, if I'm wrong. There was not a lot of big moments for me where I went, oh my God, Mom, you're wrong. Like, you're totally wrong. Here's why. Here's one that I remember as a kid that I really disliked is, do you know what I'm going to say?
I don't.
Okay. When I was learning to snowboard, I was like 13. Yeah, now you know.
11.
I was like 13.
Give me some credit. You were 11.
Okay, I would say even worse. I was 11, and I was on the hill, and it was cold out, okay? So my nose was running. And I didn't bring any Kleenex onto the snowboard hill. I'm 11. That's not my responsibility. Anyways, now this is here, I have to give a graphic warning here on the podcast. I would sometimes wipe my nose with my hand and put it back in my glove. I'm not proud of it, but I did what I had to do to survive on the bunny hill as I was 11. And my lovely mother saw that at the bottom of the bunny hill while I was at the top and shouted in the company of easily 60 people, "Don't wipe your hand and put it back in your glove." And it was insane because since my mother is an actress, her voice projection is incredible. And so I would say in a normal situation, people would go, "I wonder who she's talking to." But the elvish arrow of her voice that pierced my chest, everyone turned to look at me. And some of my classmates went, "Is that your mom?" I went, "Yeah."
I'll tell you a grow up fast story real quick here because you said you grew up fast.
Is it about me?
Griffin
Dang
was
it.
A baby when I was like, this thing happens where kids say, "I hate you, Mom." Like I know at some point he's going to say, "I hate you, Mom." When he was 10, the very first time he made it all the way to 10 before he said it to me, but he didn't say, "I hate you, Mom." He said, "Mother, I wish the dark lords of the underworld would rise up and sever your head."
That's so much
I
better.
laughed. I know. And I laughed and he didn't get the reaction he wanted out of it all. And then later when he'd say, "I hate you, Mom," I'd go, "No, say it like Mommy likes it. Say it how Mommy likes it."
I hated that. Let me be mad.
Okay, enough about us. Can I do a complete right turn to talk about the Alberta Podcast Network? You are also responsible for that, Karen.
I am. Yes.
It's all her fault.
That's right.
Claim ownership for that.
So around 2015, 2014, I was listening to podcasts and finding local ones, finding ones from here in Edmonton and also elsewhere in Alberta, and thinking, I love that this podcast exists, and I know that it's costing the creators money to make it, and they are never going to have enough downloads to sell ads to Casper Mattress. Like there's just a little arts podcast from Calgary or Edmonton doesn't get 50,000 to 100,000 downloads, never will. And that was what the economics of podcasting were. And also I know that a lot of these creators don't want to hustle for their own ads. And I also know that everybody's got a Patreon right now and that there's like a limited number of dollars that are available that way. So what could we do to at least make it so the creators could get a little bit of money, like microphone money, or pay for your hosting fees, or at least justify to somebody in your life why you're spending all your time doing this thing. So they keep going because I didn't want, and I'd already seen like a lot of really good local podcasts that I liked disappear. And so what could we do? And I thought, well, if we could band together and have some kind of thing that can bring in money from sponsors, and then we could distribute it to the people, and it wouldn't matter how many downloads they got, because what mattered was they were doing something good that somebody liked, then that would be good. And so I started working on that idea in 2015 and pitched it to a big sponsor and got that sponsorship in 2017 and started the network with 10 podcasts that summer, and then have just kept growing it and developing the processes. Like I had to invent like a whole bunch of ways for this to happen because I didn't know what I was doing. So, and then last year I got to a point where my other media company, which is called Taproot Publishing, was requiring more of my full-time attention, and my co-founder was needing my full-time attention. So I handed the reins over to Fonda Mithresh, who recruited you guys to come into the network, and she runs it now, and I own it, and we have this podcast on the network and have to report our downloads and add timestamps just like the rest of you.
Just like the rest of you peasants. Shout out to Fonda.
Hi, Fonda. Do you know how many podcasts in total now are on the Alberta Podcast Network?
I don't know. It's a little bit hard to like pin down because there's seasonal ones and there's ones that like take a long break and then they come back. So I think that with the latest intake, it's 40-ish.
Was there a spark moment? Was there a moment, something at the kitchen table where you said, Mother, this is what a skateboard is. And you went, great, we should do a podcast.
Wait.
Imagine me knowing what a skateboard is.
Yeah. Also, imagine most people knowing what a skateboard is. It's wood with wheels.
I was trying to say ripstick.
Whoa, ripstick. That's a deep cut. Good for you.
We used to go to this tea house that has since closed down. And we were walking either to or from there, and I was trying really, really hard to explain creepypasta to my mom, because that was the embarrassing thing I was into when I was 15, was creepypasta. And she was just so totally lost that I'm like, okay, this is our first episode then. She was toying with the idea of doing a podcast with me for a while, and that was the moment where we're like, okay, we're covering this. I know enough about this just off the top of my head that we can talk about it.
I need to know, do we have time? Can she tell me what creepypasta is? Because I hear it on my other podcasts that I listen to. I don't know what it means.
Okay, but here, let me offer this. I think Karen should tell Karen what creepypasta is.
That's a great idea.
This is such a test. Okay, creepypasta is horror stories written by regular people that kind of build on other people's lore and characters, and it's distributed on like in places where fan fiction and stuff like that is. And I missed it.
She was really close.
That was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, it's an umbrella term. It's a genre, basically. And what defines it is it's scary stories. It's crowd produced the same way memes are. It's very internet. And it comes from the word copy pasta, which is anything where it's copy pasted all over the place rather than having a set home or particularly well attributed authorship. So they're kind of the urban legends of the internet, and they float around and mutate with time, and nobody makes any money off of them until a big studio claims that they're public domain and steals them.
So that kind of on that topic, Mom, do you know, have you heard of Slenderman? Slenderman?
Yeah, you said it wrong, so you haven't.
No, wait. I'm cool.
Slender Man is from a video game.
No, it was invented as a creepypasta and then it was made as a video game. It was created as an entry to a competition. So then these creators of Slenderman made like kind of fake home videos or like documentation. And I was watching some of the videos. They're super convincing because they show like old German wood kind of golems that like, oh, it's been around for ages. And then these like kind of shaky home camera movies of like looking down the hallway and all of a sudden there's a tall wooden figurine. Like it's pretty spooky.
Karen.
Wait a minute. Oh my God. Is it Slender Man or Slender Min? I have to know now.
It's singular. There's only the one guy.
Right. Slender Man. Phew. The Slenderman. What's that? Live at the Phoenix Civic Center. It's the Slenderman.
Karen, are there moments during That's a Thing where you say Betamax and Elizabeth says, what's that? Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah. All the time. I'm often telling her about bizarre things from our past. I was thinking, like, media has changed so much during our time, right? And, like, we talk about, like, kids these days have to adjust to so much, but we've adjusted to a lot of changes in forms over time.
Yes, thank you.
I was thinking about this actually in light of your well-known love for Neil Diamond.
I didn't even have to mention him this week.
No.
Karen did it for me. Yes.
Oh my
anyway.
God, it's spreading. They know.
Yeah, well, in our house, we listened to music on cassettes, which alone is like such a weird thing for Elizabeth, who listens on Spotify and has the entire catalog of music of everybody from all time available to her, whereas we could only listen to whatever tapes and records our parents had. And we had Neil Diamond's greatest hits. And one of the things my brother and I used to do was like lip sync to Neil Diamond's greatest hits in our living room, which is like not a thing.
I love you and your brother. Yes, it is. Lip syncing to Neil Diamond is a thing. It was a thing. It will never not be a thing. That's okay. That is great. Do you remember which songs that you would lip sync to?
Now, okay, this is, I want to warn you that this is kind of a test.
No, it's not.
One song that Karen deems that is not a good one to
that's
say.
true.
So,
Okay.
So I know from what I've heard about Arts Trek that there is a song that KJD likes the most, and that was not the one that we loved the most. The one that we loved the most was I Said, because it's so dramatic, right?
I know.
Yeah, and so we love that one.
At Arts Trek, the kids get together. Instead of singing Sweet Caroline to me, they sing Sweet KJD. So can I just talk about my absolute joy of standing in my favorite place on earth, which is Arts Trek Theatre Alberta's summer drama camp for teens, surrounded by 110 teenagers singing Sweet KJD to me.
How do you not just bawl?
I don't.
Yeah, she
I
does.
bawl. I
she
tap.
does. All the
I
time.
video in a big circle, and then in February when Arts Trek isn't on and it's miserable and I'm sad about something, I'll go back and watch videos of blurry faces all singing Sweet KJD at me.
Blurry faces and fancy dress as well.
And fancy dresses or unicorn onesies.
Same thing.
And also, let me just offer, I know you guys mentioned that you don't really have a millennial perspective, and I think I'm on the cusp of that. So let me just say, as an offer, usually millennials think cool names like Big Marshmallow Rap are really awesome. If you ever want to sneak that into your podcast, you can just like credit me, and that'll kind of represent the whole generation, in my opinion.
Take it into consideration.
Elizabeth, I'm just going to hijack us for just a second, Griffin, to talk about Arts Trek. What were your years?
Yeah, I was there for Midsummer Night's Dream. And then I had back surgery and couldn't go, which was devastating. And then I was there for Macbeth, which I think we're allowed to say in this theater space. And then I was there for Les Miserables last year.
Ow, my spleen. What did you just say that for?
Is that a common thing associated with the myth that the spleen is attacked?
Not at all. So if you had to explain Arts Trek to somebody as a thing, how would you describe it?
Well, it comes in 3 different age groups, and you go, and for a week you are immersed in all different angles of theater, from set design to voice work to acting, and you're also surrounded by a ton of nerdy theater kids who are on the same level as you, and everybody just hangs out like a big family and eats food that is all right and has a ton of fun.
That's a perfect explanation.
Theater Alberta, that'll be $75 for that free Arts Trek ad. You can also pay me in gold bars. Speaking of gold bars, let's get down to the brass tacks. That was the best segue I've ever done on this podcast.
That's so good.
Anyway, Karen, Elizabeth, tell us how people listen to That's a Thing.
That's a Thing is in all of the podcatchers that you can find. It is unfortunately a little bit hard to find because it has so much punctuation in it. So that's THAT''S, a thing, ? Which you would have heard in KJD's voice at the beginning because she pronounced our interrobang extremely well. But it is like hard to remember when you're in Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you go to find that with all that punctuation. And then also we have like the website where all of the stuff lives is that'sathing.transistor.fm. And if you're on Twitter, you can find us there at That's a Thing Yake.
Perfect. Well, Karen took the other Karen aside to talk about the Karen phenomenon, and then Karen took Elizabeth aside to talk about Arts Trek, and Karen didn't take me aside to do anything. So I'm going to do my own.
I know everything about you.
I know. I'm going to do my own aside here and say that The Breakfast Dish is a member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported. The intro music you just heard and the outro music you're about to hear is by Alexandra Cowman. All graphic design for The Breakfast Dish has been done by Morgan Ernter. Karen, what's going on this week?
On Friday, April 23rd at 7 p.m., SAIT is having their online film festival. So it's the celebration of the graduating class of 2021. They can't show their final projects in person, but they can show them virtually. So you can see those for free if you go to saitfilmfest.com. That's where you can stream the videos, watch the trailer, see the posters, and learn more about the grads. So that's Friday, April 23rd at 7 p.m., SAIT Online Film Festival. Also, Sunday, April 25th, 7 p.m., Arts Commons presents the Love Notes Cabaret. Love Notes blends contemporary and South Asian sound with poetry, creating an artistic balm, B-A-L-M, to help you see your own story in others. So there's a film performance. It features live interaction with performers through a virtual format. It is free also, but you need to go to this web address to register, and it's a long one. I think you can probably just go to artscommons.ca and then go from there and search Love Notes Cabaret. But the actual registration is artscommons.ca/what's-on/2021/love-notes-cabaret. That's a lot of punctuation.
And see, when you look at it like that, yeah, that's the thing isn't even that bad.
No.
I feel better now.
Karen and Elizabeth, thank you very much for joining us on The Breakfast Dish.
This was so fun. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's nice to talk to people that aren't in my house.
Absolutely. How we usually like to wrap up things on The Breakfast Dish is Karen will ask you a question. And oftentimes that question has to do with something that we talked about, but sometimes not. I know that I stated that I was the chaotic element, but this part also gets very chaotic. But Karen is a professional improviser, so here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Karen, 1977, and you could buy any cereal without your parents' permission. What cereal do you buy?
Sugar Crisp.
Oh, yes. Okay. And Elizabeth, it's 2021.
Elizabeth, it's 1970, and you can buy cereal.
Elizabeth, it's 2021, and you get to make a cereal with the ingredients you like the best. What's in it and what's it called?
I would make cookies because I don't like cereal. It would just be cookies. You can have milk with it if you want. You do not have to have milk with it.
I'll put it in a box if you guys insist, but they're just cookies. Tiny cookies that fit in a bowl.
That's great. I'd buy that cereal.
The sugar content will not be different, I assure you.
I would eat cookie-flavored cereal. Can we talk about that for a second?
Isn't there Oreo cereal, Cocoa Puffs, that kind of
There's
stuff?
like Tim Hortons mocha something. They're practically little mini cookies, but I'm going to approach Chips Ahoy with a breakfast cereal idea, so we need to end the podcast right now because I'm going to patent. It's patented too late.
Elizabeth's got it. Copyright, Elizabeth.
Oh,
Copyright.
fair.
She made
Dang
it up.
it. Foiled again by Elizabeth.
This has happened before, of course. I've been sabotaging your life for years and you didn't even know it.
This episode of The Breakfast Dish is brought to you by the Northwest Fest International Documentary Festival, running online from May 6th to 16th.
And here's some free advice. This is my grandmother's favorite film festival ever.
Even though Northwest Fest can't happen in a movie theater this year, they've still put together an outstanding lineup of some of the year's best docs.
And I just want to pop in here and say I want you to think about her and her best friend Lynn not being able to go in person. So stay home and wear your masks, because that makes me sad.
In fact, this year there are a whopping 40 feature films plus 40 short films available for viewing to anyone in Alberta.
Yeah, anyone including Lynn, who recently said I was a nice man.
This is your chance to stream some of the hottest new docs from Canada and abroad, many of which are Canadian, international, and even world premieres.
Some would even say Edmontonian, like Sandy and Lynn, who can't go to Northwest Fest.
All-access streaming passes, ticket packs, and single tickets are available now at northwestfest.ca.
Sandy and Lynn don't have a website, so you should go to Northwest Fest and support it so it'll stick around until they can attend in person. Buy you some popcorn.
This has been The Breakfast Dish.